Hey guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, with a quick video that you guys requested. This is the iPod Touch 5th generation in space gray. So for 2013, the iPod Touch, the iPod Nano, and the iPod Shuffle didn't receive any updates in any way beyond the software on the iPod Touch 5th generation. Otherwise, the hardware and the design is carried over from 2012. But we did get a new color, and you guys kept asking me about it. So I thought, well, let me go ahead and cover it just because it's a pretty easy video to do. So we had our not space gray, we had the Slate iPod Touch launch last year for both the iPod Touch as well as the iPod Nano. We also have a space gray iPod Shuffle now instead of the Slate color. But we're just going to cover these two in this video. Now, taking a look at the packaging, of course, the only difference here from last year is the new operating system. So we have iOS 7 installed on this as opposed to iOS 6 when it launched. iPod Touch branding along the side, which incidentally is color matched to the color of your iPod. So in this case, we get that spacey gray color, that darker color. Same with the Apple logo. Along the back, you have your capacity. Again, this is available in 32 or 64 gig. 32 gig is $299. 64 is $399. There is a 16 gig version, which is a very different iPod Touch. I've also reviewed that previously. That starts you off at $229. And that gets you iPod Touch, pretty much the same iPod Touch, but they remove the rear firing camera and do remove the iPod loop feature, which we'll take a look at. Of course, they also remove the color options, and they give you plastic buttons as opposed to metal buttons. All of that is in my review video. All right, so enough talking. Let's get to the unboxing. We're just going to peel this off. And we should just be able to lift the lid now. There it is. Pop it up. Let's see here. There you go. So there we go. We have our iPod Touch in this little holding tray with a little tab here to lift up. There you go. And we should just be able to, once we get this out of the way, just be able to pop it up. Pops right out of its tray. There we go. All right, let's set that aside for just a minute so we can take a look at the contents. Designed by Apple in California. Inside we have iPod Touch, so some instructions on what the buttons do, basic information here. So on the back you can see some support links, iPod Touch info. We also have our Apple stickers, of course. And inside we'll find our USB to Lightning connector. We find our iPod Touch loop, which is color matched. In this case, it's black. You can pull that out here. So there you go. Actually, you can see they actually changed the color of the iPod Touch loop to match the space gray color. So a small detail here, but it does make a difference. Now we also have a set of earpods. Now these earpods do not have the remote and microphone built in. They're just the standard earpods. You can only get these versions of the earpods when you buy an iPod. All right, so there is our space gray iPod Touch. Of course, we have our iPod branding, which is polished into the surface of the aluminum. We have our black transparent RF window. This allows Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to pass through the metal body without interference. We have our 5 megapixel autofocusing camera, which is unchanged. We also have our microphone next to that, as well as an LED flash. On the bottom, we have our iPod loop feature, which is still present. Of course, we have our speaker, we have our lightning port, as well as our headphone jack. Along the side, we have our metal volume up and down button. Along the top, we have another metal sleep-wake button. And along the front, you'll see we have a nice chamfered bezel. Along the side, which again looks very nice, a nice mirrored, jeweled-like finish to it. Now, if we compare this to the discontinued Slate color, you can see there are some other differences to point out beyond the color. So, of course, this color was a lot darker, was kind of a bluish color as opposed to the silvery grayish color. This perhaps was a little less durable than this color. This color is a little closer to the natural color of the aluminum. This was a darker color, so if you scratch it, it became more apparent that it's been scratched, so we reveal the aluminum surface underneath. That is not as prominent with this lighter color. Now you can see here that the iPod loop is different this time. It's not different, it's just the coloring is different. So if you look down here, you can see we have a silvery color on the space gray model as opposed to this black color on the Slate model. Now this is actually the same on all iPod Touches now. This was unique to the Slate color last year. So you can see if we have the standard silver version, you can see we have that same silvery button as opposed to the black version. Now if you're not familiar with the iPod loop, basically it's a button that pops out that allows you to connect the hand strap. Now the hand strap attaches like so. So there you go. You now have a hand strap which allows you to more easily hold onto your iPod Touch without dropping it. Also gives you a more secure grip. It's particularly useful if you want to use this as a camera. Now at the top we have the same 5 megapixel autofocusing eyesight camera, which can record video at 1080p at 30 frames per second with stabilization. We also have that LED flash along with our speaker, or I'm sorry, our microphone, which as you can see if you look really closely actually has a little speaker or microphone grill. You can see the mesh in there, which is also color keyed to the iPod. Now, incidentally, which I realize this video is entirely about incidentals, this camera ring is also black on both the Space Gray and Slate model, but it's silver on all the other colors here. So you can see silvery on this silver color version of the iPod Touch. Now if you look at the bottom on the right side, we have our speaker, and the grills again are color matched. It's slightly darker on the Space Gray model versus the silver model, and the Slate model was completely black or near black. Now the lightning connector also has a white insert on the white and silver model. This would also be the case on any of the other colors. And we have a black insert for the Space Gray and Slate. And same with the headphone jack, white insert versus black on the others. Now as you can see, even the metal buttons are color matched to the aluminum body of each iPod. Same with the button on the top. Now the iPod Touch 5th generation in Space Gray now perfectly matches the iPad Mini and the iPad Air in Space Gray. So you can see the design harmony is consistent with the color. So on to the 7th generation iPod Nano in Space Gray. Again, nothing is new here, still the same price, $149. The only difference is the new color, which again replaces Slate. So Space Gray is still here along with silver, purple, pink, yellow, blue, green, and red, but this is the only one with the black bezel around the screen. So even the silver version has a white bezel around it. So at $149, you get 16 gigs, and there is no other capacity option. You do have to add the media via iTunes, so you do have to physically connect it, but it does have a Bluetooth radio in here, so you could output audio to your wireless headsets or your Bluetooth speaker or even your car as a media player. So once again, we have a color matching Apple logo on the top, iPod Nano branding along the side, and that's about it. Let's go ahead and peel this open. Just pop the lid, and sitting on its tray is the iPod Nano with a little sticker over it. So let's see if we can find it. There it is, little tab here to lift up. There you go. There is our iPod. Pops right out if you bend the tray. So along the back, polished into the aluminum unibody, is the iPod branding along with the Apple logo. Along the bottom, we'll find this black plastic RF transparent window for the Bluetooth antenna. Now this matches the black on the front of the iPod. Now if you got the silver or any iPod with the white screen, you get the white window instead. Along the bottom, you'll see we have the lightning connector as well as the headphone jack. And as you can see, it's just as thin as the headphone jack is round, so they can't go any thinner than this. Now on the front, we have our concaved home button, which has not been upgraded to Touch ID, unfortunately. Of course, I'm kidding. This will never get Touch ID. You can see that the glass kind of hovers above the aluminum unibody of the iPod Nano. We also have our volume rocker, volume up and down, with our center click button, which can be used in a variety of ways. So you can pause, playback, double tap to advance a track, triple tap to reverse a track. Along the top, you have your sleep-wake button. Now, as you can see, Space Gray kind of looks like a merger between Slate and Silver. It's kind of a happier medium between the two of them. Now, if we compare them edge on, you can see that we also have some of the similar differences between this and the iPod Touch. So, for example, we have color matching lightning port inserts, black versus white on the white model. Same with the headphone jack, white versus black on the other models. Now along the top we have these metal buttons, which again are color matched to the iPods. And same story with the volume rocker. Now if you look really closely at the top of them, again you'll see that mirrored chamfered edge, which is tinted to the color of the metal. Alrighty guys, so that is my quick look at the Space Gray iPod Touch and iPod Nano. Now I realize this video is kind of trivial for some of you who don't really care about these things, but since so many of you guys asked, I thought it was worthwhile doing. So please let me know if you like this video by hitting that like button. And what I would like to know from you guys is, which version do you prefer? Do you prefer the Slate color that's now defunct, or do you prefer Space Gray? Personally, I actually really like Space Gray, so I'm glad they made that change. Now, I did do a more extensive overview of these devices in last year's videos, so I'll post links to those in the description below, so please take a look at those, and I'll see you again in the next video.